100 gram.
All right, so tell us your name.
Mack Terrence Sr., AKA King Mack, the God of Fitness.
So where are you from?
Uptown, New Orleans, Magnolia Project.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your childhood and how it was growing up.
Oh man, my childhood. Well, looking back at it now, I didn't even know that we was poor. But I had a pretty good childhood. Seen a lot of rough things growing up, but other than that, you know, I come up in the 80s, 90s era, so you know, me being from the project, I was in the project when Baby pull up in a couple of Magnolia Charlotte and signed Turk, like we were sitting on the post together. So like the whole high boy era, like that's my era, so you know, that's why a lot of people from New Orleans feel like how we feel about celebrities. We are celebrities because we grew up with them.
So you feel like, because you mentioned two things, you said you've seen a lot of bad things, but you also, when you just talked about feeling like you're your own celebrity because you've seen these people in your own hood. Tell us both sides, like what those negative things that you've seen growing up versus how you really felt even more when you see this positive light that came through.
Well, pretty much with the negative, it was more of understanding who you wanted to be and who the drug dealers and the killers already knew who you was. So if you was a kid that was into sports or into the band or into school, they made sure that you stayed away from everything that they had going on. If you was a kid that, look, this is what it is, I'm saying, my mom and dad not there, saying mom on crack, dad in jail, dad dead, this is what it is, they welcomed you to that lifestyle. And you know, saying, with that lifestyle, you gonna lose friends at a young age, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, either they're going to jail for committing violent crimes or they're losing their life. So on the back end of that, we still had the lights and the glamour with, you know, our first major video shoot was Juvenile Hunt. Then he doubled back with Back That Ass Up, then the Hot Boys came, then, right. You know, so it was good and bad.
So where did you go to high school at?
I first attended high school at Walter L. Kahn. I was recruited there by Coach Kevin Sanders. Most people know him as Big Woo. Right now he's the AD at 35 High School for to play basketball. I was kicked out of Kahn for a Magnolia 10 gang fight, allegedly, that's what they say. But I ended up graduating from Booker Washington High School. I stayed 2 years at Kahn and 2 years at Booker Washington.
So how was that experience altogether? I know you kind of touched on it, but going into just high school in general, what did you take away from high school all in all?
You're a kid and you playing sports, you really don't, like you have tunnel vision. You want to see your dreams, your vision, and you have this big aspiration that, okay, there is opportunity, you know, there is life outside of, you know, these bricks.
Right.
And then 1 second, all that can be taken away. And then I was put in another situation where I left this situation. Now I'm at Booker Washington, where it's the Mack, North Cali, and everything else in between. So, you know, it was a lot of tension going into that school because I'm from the Magnolia, got the cash money, no limit thing. I'm going to school every day. I'm wearing a cash money windbreaker to school. So Cali, they like, man, what you doing? What you doing? What you mean? You know?
Right.
I'm like, this is how I'm coming. So, you know, but they allow my abilities in sports to overlook the cash money no limit thing because they're like, all right, man, dude like that, dude good, and he humble, and you know, so you know, that kept down a lot of tension because, like, I always knew who I was as far as if I enter a room and I give you respect, I need it back. But if you don't respect me, then I'm checking it. We ain't gonna beat around the bush, I'm checking it straight up. So like a lot of guys out of the other hoods always, you know, they're like, no one thing, dude straight up. If dude got a problem with you, everybody gonna know he got a problem with you. There's not gonna be no secret. So that kept down a lot of tension in school because, you know, I was always like, look, man, if, you know, somebody had a problem with somebody, you know, y'all didn't talk about it. You know, before we get to the streets, before we get to fighting, just talk about it, and that'll kill it.
So passing through that and even that experience, we going on to the next thing. What did you do after high school?
After high school, I started, while I was in high school, I started working. My first job was at Church's Chicken on Claiborne and Martin Luther King. I started working out my junior year. After that, I started working at Sports Avenue. So after I graduated, I was already working. So I really wasn't like worried about going to college because I was already making money. So after like a year, I got tired. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to go to school. I called up Coach Dooley, which is the head coach now at Southern. He was the wide receiver coach there. I'm like, man, I'm ready to come to school. He's like, well, man, come on. Went up there to Southern, enrolled, started going to practice, started balling, made the team. After I made the team, it was during the summer, I came back home. That's when my mom told me that she had cancer and I wouldn't be able to go back to school because she needed my help. So that was all that hard work. Felt like it was taken away, but it wasn't taken away because I felt like it prepared me because I worked so hard to get to where I was in college, to where I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this.
Okay, so how did that, you talked about it, how did you take that and move forward in your life when it came to your mom at that time?
I mean, when you grew up in a single parent household and you have strong grandparents, I have 2 strong grandmothers and a strong mother, and they stood on me being a man since a child. Like I always was the man of the house. So they always taught me how a man should run his house, how a man should have his house, how a man should do this. Like that was our conversation daily. A man don't do this, a man do that. A man don't do this, a man do that. So when my mom got sick, we was used to living a certain lifestyle. So that lifestyle had to continue. So I had to take on 3 jobs. So it got to a point where I was only getting like 3 to 4 hours of sleep to making sure I was making enough money to pay the bills, pay the mortgage, pay my mom car note, and be able to pay for her medicine because if you're not on government assistance, you have to pay for everything.
Right.
And my mom, like some of her prescriptions was like $500-600. So I had to work 3 jobs, but I had to do what I had to do. So I made sure my mom was straight, like she made sure I was straight. As a child, I never wanted for anything. Like anything I ever asked my mama for, I had it. Even, like I say, we was raised in a project, but I never knew we was poor. We was the only people in the project in the 80s. We had the first Apple computer.
Right.
And to me, this was a computer I had, but not knowing because I was so used to having things that, like my mama really just bust our butts for this. So, like I say, my mom always made sure that me and my sister had everything we ever asked for.
Right. All right. So basically, through that, just to get everything right, you stopped college fully just to help your mom and go through that situation and really just be the man that you had to be.
Uh-huh.
Talk about basically, because it seemed like you just gave up your old dream of sports. Did that affect you in any kind of way as well when you thought that you just had this goal in mind and it just kind of was gone because you had so many obligations to move forward with?
Well, in my mind, it really wasn't gone, but I understand that certain things happen for a reason. So in that moment, this is what it was. I already know one thing, I can get back to that because I did it already. I already accomplished, like I know I can go back. I still have my playbook, I still study my playbook. I still was talking to Coach Dooley, our wide receiver coach. I still was talking to the wide receivers. I still was talking to the quarterbacks. So I still was in communication with the team throughout the season. It's just that I wasn't there physically. So I know once this season over with, I'll be able to step back into that season once my mom get better.
All right, so the next question is really getting into even another tough time is talking about your time in prison. How did that affect you and the way that you even dealing with that now, dealing with that next situation? How did that even build you as a person that you want to be?
Well, my time in prison, I came to the realization that once I had a time just to sit down, like how messed up I was as a person, growing up in a single parent household without a father. I didn't know that I had so much anger in me that from not having a father that I just had, like anybody that I like get angry at, I hurt you just because I didn't have my father in my life. So I didn't know that the impact me not having him in my life played a part in me making decisions. Another thing, like, I always tell people, like, prison was the best thing happening to me. People are like, why you say that? Like, because I had the time to sit down and learn myself and come to a realization with myself that I was messed up, that I needed help. Like, we take life for granted. We take things for granted. So, like, we don't ever look at, like for instance, we could be in prison, and I always tell people, I was the only person that was in jail that was guilty. Everybody else in jail was innocent, because you're not accepting that all the other stuff you've done. You may be in jail for the police putting some drugs on you, but look at all the other stuff you've done.
So basically,
I got a question for you, man. I think it's important to get this part of the story as well, so people get the full picture. Can you talk about, if you're open to it, some of the decisions that you made that led up to you going to prison, that put you in that type of situation?
I go back to decision making. I broke one of my own rules, and I never go to the club on a Saturday night because I always was getting ready for church Sunday morning. And that Saturday night, I went to the club because one of my friends called me to come pick some money up because the club was too crowded. He got paranoid, and he was like, man, look, it's just too packed in here. I need you to come pick this money up. So instead of me going to get the money and just leave, I stayed for a while, and I broke my own rule. And I tell people, you can't never fault a hater for being a hater. You can't fault a robber or a jacker. That's what they do. That's their craft. But I fought myself, and I put myself in a situation to allow y'all to be able to touch me. So I can't get mad at you from doing what you do. I gotta get mad at myself because I was in the wrong because I broke my own rule. But when the decision was made, it was made. Like, I got down on my knees and I asked God, I'm like, God, I'm saying, you know my heart. You know the type of person I am. Like, I mean, you know everything that happened. I don't have to explain it to nobody. And like, once I did that, everything began to work for me in my favor. So, like I tell people, you have to, like, be real with yourself. If you messed up, you gotta, like, seek help.
So to me, you're talking about accountability.
Yeah.
How important in life do you even share that with people in general about how to take accountability and what that truly means as far as it could change your life? And do you feel like even people really do that?
Not a lot of times. That's why we go through certain things that we go through. I tell people, like, you have to really say, you know what, I was wrong. I need to fix myself. Like, growing up, we didn't know about anger management. We didn't know about parenting. We didn't know about counseling. We know about these things. We need to reach out to those people and get help. Because we can't just keep holding all that stuff in, because the only thing it does is create anger, and we take it out on our love. Like, the people who care for us, we hurt them more than we hurt the people that's trying to hurt us, because we so angry just at the world because it's stuff that we don't know or stuff that we can't express to other people.
Right. So fast forward to your journey with your gym and the training. Tell us about that journey, how it started and how it got you.
That journey started in jail. We had a young guy from out of Kenner, a little white boy named Will. He had a scoliosis problem. So I started just reading on how to help him. So as I began to help him, like, his parents just were so amazed about how his body was changing. He would be becoming so more healthy. I'm like, you know what? I probably can do this. So when I was incarcerated, I used to read a lot. So I read a magazine one day, and they said, #1 booming job is personal training. I'm like, people can pay for this? I do this for free. So they were like, yeah. And that was my job in jail. At 5 a.m. when they wake you up to go eat breakfast, you come back at 7 o'clock, I had to go to the gym every day. So that was my job. So, okay, I can get paid for this. So I started putting together a plan while I was sitting in plumbing class to get certified for carpentry and plumbing. I'll be writing down notes on training, and I need to do this, I need to get certified, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I put together a 5-year plan. Once I was released from prison, I completed that 5-year plan in 2 years, because I realized people on the streets was comfortable. Like, I was working for 4 cents an hour, so now I'm getting paid money to do something that I was doing for free. It's easy.
So how did that, I mean, you also mentioned that you had a 5-year plan. What helped you execute it within 2 years?
Passion. Your passion will wake you up. Your passion will keep you going. Your passion will keep you motivated. My passion for people, to watch people buy the transform, I write for instance college. I'm saying my major is fine arts. I grew up doing carpentry and plumbing work with my dad, so I'm used to seeing stuff transform. So I started seeing people buy it and people life transform through fitness. I love that. It's like fitness is an art.
You know, we was talking about passion earlier about some things, and you know, I know I mentioned something earlier about turning your pain into passion, right? And it seems like even throughout the fitness journey, from understanding, because you got to go through pain to get to the point that you want to be as well. Seeing everything that you have done in your journey with that, do you think that just fully, all in all of that pain and taking accountability within itself, would you tell other people the same thing? Anything that you're going through, you could turn that into something beautiful as far as your passion, just as you did?
Every day. Every day. Like anybody who comes to my gym, they can attest. When people complain about this and that, okay, all right, go ahead, keep on. Because nobody, at the end of the day, no one cares because everyone's going through their own thing. Nobody cares about what you're going through but you. Like you can sit down, you can tell your best friend about what you, at the end of the day, she's going through her own stuff. So once that phone hangs up, she forgot about everything you told her. He done forgot about everything you told him because they're going through their own situation. No one cares about what you're going through. So it's all upon you. So when it comes to your passion will have a price. Like, I can make $1 million doing what I do easy, but I choose not to do certain things because this is my passion. I love this. I do this for free, and nobody know I do it for free because I don't have a price on it. I let her do this.
So we're gonna switch the gears a little bit. How has fatherhood changed you?
Oh man, like being a father, it gets to see you growing up. I have 2 sons and 2 daughters. My 2 sons, my oldest son, Mack Jr., he reminds me of me after prison. My baby boy, Major, he reminds me of me in the project. And it's crazy how your kids do exactly what you used to do, and it'll come back to you that, damn, I did that. I'm like, wow, like you can't even fuss at him, like, that's me. and it helps me with helping other parents, like when you look at your child, that's you. You gotta go back to what your parents, what your mom, your dad used to fuss at you about, that's you. So now I know not to fuss at my kids, talk to them. Because look, son, don't do this. Because daddy did that, it didn't work. Don't do that. Stop lying to me. I know you're lying. Know why I know you're lying? Because when daddy lied, daddy do the same thing you're doing right now. I'm saying daddy eyes go that way, or daddy do this. You're doing the same thing. You my child. So I'm saying you're a better version of me, so why hold you back? I'm saying I'm about to give it to you while you're young, so you can grow and blossom before I did.
Right. So if you could speak to your younger self, or kids in general in the world, what message would you give to them right now?
Keep going. That's what my mom used to always tell me. Keep going. You got this. Simple. Keep going. No matter how I look, keep going. Just keep going. Okay, go ahead. All right, go ahead, keep going. I'm saying, all right, if you miss that shot, keep shooting. Simple. Just keep going. Like, it's not hard. The hardest part is to get up and keep going. Everything else is it gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Life will happen. Trials and tribulations will happen. Just keep going. Like, nothing you do is gonna be perfect because there's gonna be trial and error. We have to learn not to do this to get to this. Like, no business you start is going to just, you just go over business and go boom. That's just not life. So we have to just keep going. People start things and have brilliant ideas, and the first time something goes wrong, they stop because something went wrong. Something had to go wrong because you had to learn this, but we wasn't taught that. You had to keep going. Just keep moving.
Okay. I got one more question for you. Being that we're in the corner store, being that you're from New Orleans, from Magnolia, I need you to give me one story that's unique to New Orleans, something that you've seen, something that you may have done in New Orleans that is only could happen here. That
can only happen here? Man, well, I ain't gonna say it only happened here, but I told this story one time in college, and everybody thought I was lying. I'm like, man, y'all serious? And then when Soldier Slim rapped about it, they was like, man, that happened for real? I'm like, yeah. And Slim said, believe me when I tell you, uptown it goes down. Eric Maurice, aka the nigga, dressed like a clown. We was outside playing football, and Eric Maurice walked up the courtway with an AK with a clown suit on, and he called timeout. He said, y'all sit down or go inside. And we like, man, go ahead, man, this man tripping. He like, no, time out, sit down, put the football up. And he turned off a bell down Clara. By the time he hit 6th Street, we just heard a lot of shots. And we went around there to see what happened. Like, he literally like shot dude face off. And then when I told that story, I'm like, man, go ahead, that happened. And then Slim rapped about it, like, man, that happened for real? I'm like, yeah, that happened for real. We was outside when that happened. So I'm like, man, that's crazy. They're like, man, like you really, yeah, he really had enough respect for us as kids to say, he called time out in the middle of us playing two-hand touch. Y'all sit down. But that was the respect they had for kids in that era. They had killers, but the killers had respect. Time out. Like, that was major. Major.
So tell everybody where to find you at, social media handles, websites.
King Mack _fitness, Facebook King Mack Fitness, themotivationteam.com, The Motivation Team Instagram. Y'all tap in, y'all come holler at your boy. Real results, baby.
Only in New Orleans.